All right, today we are joined by a very special guest. Olympic medalist and Walter Cup champion NICOLE Hensley is here doing an interview with Guerilla Sports before her day with the Cup. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Yeah, super excited to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you for stopping along the way. We're really honored to have it here. What was your reaction to seeing this trophy in person?
I mean, it was kind of being the inaugural season for the PWHL. The league had put out mock-ups of what it was going to look like, so we kind of had an idea of a 2D on paper rendering. So the first time that anyone had ever actually seen it was when they opened it up after Game 5 to award our team with it. So it was kind of crazy to just wait, and you weren't exactly sure what you were going to see in that Tiffany's box. So it was pretty cool to get to see it, for the first time along with everyone, and then to get to hoist it shortly after was pretty cool.
And you grew up as an Avs fan, and now with the Walter Cup win, the Avs organization is recognizing your accomplishments with some congratulations from the players. I think Bernie might be making an appearance. What does it mean to you to have your ties to Colorado hockey come full circle in this way?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool. I first started playing hockey when the Avs won the Cup in 2001, so I was a huge Joe Sakic fan, huge Patrick Waugh fan. So, just to be able to, just see the game celebrated at the highest level, and it's I think it shows how big a deal it is when you've got what we consider like our counterparts almost the NHL on the men's side to recognize what we're doing on the women's side. It's pretty cool.
How does that connection to your roots in Colorado hockey inspire you now as a professional and a champion in the PWHL?
I think either with the national team or with the PWHL, like as players, we've always thought of it as if you can't see it, you can't be it. And being out west, growing up out here, there wasn't a lot of women's hockey for me to watch growing up. It was basically the Avs, and the national team came in and played one game in Colorado when I was a kid. So that was the only exposure to women's hockey I'd had in person. So just to be able to provide a role model or something for young female hockey players to look up to, I think that's really cool to be able to do, and for the games to be so accessible on YouTube is a big deal. If you can't see it, you can't be it, and that's something we really pride ourselves on, is pushing the game to more and more of a spotlight where everyone can see it and enjoy it.
And before we dive into this incredible playoff run, I want to peel back to your youth hockey days here in Colorado. Can you tell me what your path through hockey was like, kind of how you first discovered your love of the game?
Yeah, I had a neighbor across the street. There was a cul-de-sac kind of between our houses, and he was always outside playing hockey. This is when I was in maybe first, second grade, and he was always outside playing roller hockey, and one day he just asked if I wanted to play. And so I was like, okay, and him and I would just be out there every day, like playing, and his parents came over one day and told mine, tryouts are coming up, like you could let her try it for real on the ice. And my parents are from Kansas City, Missouri, so hockey wasn't exactly on their radar. So that was kind of how we got exposed to it. And then I watched the Avs Cup run in 2001, and I just knew that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be on the ice, and so I started playing at our local boys association, which was the Foothills Flyers organization. It wasn't picking that over girls or anything. We didn't even know a girls program existed. It was just well, this is our local association. This is where we go. So ended up staying there and playing with the boys all the way up through my sophomore year of high school, and then I switched over to the Colorado Select AAA program, and that was just to have a chance to be seen by colleges and hopefully earn a college scholarship. So, it was kind of just playing with the boys growing up and making best friends. I never would have dreamed to be here where I am now, but it was certainly a lot of fun growing up and playing hockey in Colorado.
Were you always a goaltender? Did you try other positions first?
I started as a player, and we kind of got to when I first started playing, you could try it if you wanted to, and so I tried it one game. I don't remember anything about the game. I don't remember if we won, lost, whatever, but there was something to it that I wanted to try it again. So it was kind of the next year I was kind of the backup goalie. So still mostly skated out and played a couple times, and then it was half and half, and pretty soon it was kind of had to make a decision one way or another, and yeah, I loved the gear. I loved getting to play the whole game, and yeah, just kind of stuck with it.
And as you've climbed through the ranks of hockey, you've also played in different women's leagues. If they've, kind of transformed over the years, how did you adapt to the changing environments?
Yeah, it's one of those things where, it's all new and you're trying to build it and trying to get exposure and all the things you need to have a successful league. And I played in Buffalo for the Buttes with it was the NWHL at the time. And we had great backing from the PWHL family, and it felt like a very professional environment. And we had a great team, great time, and it just was one team that was treated like that rather than all of them at the time. And in order to kind of push the game forward, there was a group of us that created the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association, and we played in what we called the Dream Gap Tour, the secret Dream Gap Tour, and it was just to kind of like bring awareness and to the fact that there isn't a sustainable women's league that could get us to that next level. And our leadership talking with investors and trying to reach a place where we felt like we could all come together and create one league that would be sustainable and be something that would be in place for a long time.
And in the inaugural season of the PWHL, we're seeing an unprecedented level of visibility for women's hockey. I guess, first of all, could you feel that level of interest and those eyes on you throughout this season?
I think it was pretty clear right from the outset for our team. Game 1 in Minnesota against Montreal. There was a game that had like 8,000 people, I think, in Ottawa. They'd sold out the capacity at their building, and so that kind of like set the precedent, like, oh, we're selling out like buildings, like lots of people are coming to these. And as we were creeping forward to like our opening home opener, we kept hearing like, oh, they had to open up the middle level or at the XL Energy Center, and then it was like, oh, they had to open up the top. And so to play our first game in front of 13,000 was really eye-opening. And I think not just for us, I think it was something we always felt like, if you give people a product and you tell them about it and where they can find it, and they will come. And I think that was just kind of like a full circle moment to see that happen. And it just continued to happen through the entire season. We played all of our weekend games. We were right around 10,000, if not over. And then for our playoff games again at home, we were back up there to around the 13 mark. So and that's in June, when people are not thinking too much about hockey anymore. So it was crazy to see. There were so many sellouts all over the league, and felt like we just kept playing in bigger venues, and people just kept showing up. And so we're excited to continue to build on the momentum.
And throughout your career, you've played on international stages, notably the 2018 Olympic gold win. How do you think that experience has impacted the growth of the women's game?
I think when we won gold in Pyeongchang in 2018, the reaction we got, I think, was bigger than people realized it would be. And some of it, I think, is due to the fact that you're just seeing that across women's sports. Like, people are paying attention. People want to watch it. It's getting more coverage. And that was an eye-opening moment in and of itself. But then it's like, okay, we had that big game, and now what? Where does it go for the next 4 years until the Olympics come back? And so I think that was where it was like really kind of the proof that we needed this league and this visibility to really push the game forward. But to just, from a playing standpoint, to have been around big games, to have played in big games, I think kind of gives you a little bit more security when you're playing in front of those big crowds. It feels a little bit more familiar. So that was definitely helpful this year.
And you've played alongside some of the best players on Team USA. Now you're playing opposite them in the Professional Women's Hockey League. How has that dynamic shifted from teammate now to, I won't say rival? Is there respect, or does that up the intensity a little bit?
I think in a different kind of way, because it's like we're all such good friends. We're all, like you said, ton of respect for each other, but we really want to beat each other at the same time. So I think that was kind of a cool aspect this year. I think playing against Boston in the finals, like, they've got Erin Frankel and Hillary Knight and Hannah Brandt and such big names over there that it was like you knew you were in for a fight every single game, and each team was going to have to play their best. So yeah, it's definitely a little bit different. It's, between whistles, it's all business, but then at the end of the game, it's always good to see them after and, give hugs and kind of laugh if something funny happened. But for the most part, yeah, it's all business.
And shifting to this last year, the inaugural season must have come with a lot of expectations, maybe some pressure. How did you and your teammates manage that pressure of creating a legacy, just not only for the league, but for the Minnesota team?
Yeah, I think what's really cool about having set teams and set markets is kind of the ownership that you feel over the organization, and it just in terms of really wanting to represent the team well and play hard for the team and the fans, and the same time feeling that same love back from the fans, like it's their team, and so that was really cool to just be a part of that. And I think it's just getting even better with the logos and everything like that coming into play now, and so just, I don't know, just trying to represent the purple well.
In September, the name and the team jerseys and branding was finally announced. What kind of reaction did you have to that now that there's some sentiments to Minnesota that are being linked there?
Yeah, I think leading up to it, everyone kept asking, like, oh, you guys got to know what it is. You got to know what it is. And we were like, no, we really have no clue what it's going to be. And they kept releasing hints and stuff. So we were all talking to each other and other teammates. And it's like, oh, I think it's going to be this, and kind of like having, kind of guessing games and stuff. But when we heard that we'd be the Frost, I was excited about it. I think it fits Minnesota well. I think it fits the state as a whole well. And, the logo's kind of fun. And it's just, to start getting to a point where now it's just not like, oh, I play for Minnesota. It's I play for the Frost, and have that name and kind of brand recognition is really exciting.
And going back to that first question about managing expectations, were there any rituals or leaders that emerged that helped to foster unity on a new team?
Yeah, I think our captains did a great job. Kendall Coyne-Schofield, Lee Steckline, Kelly Panic are our captains and assistant captains, and I felt like we were always kind of an older team compared to some of the others, I think. So, and we had a lot of people already based in Minnesota. So you had a lot of people very comfortable with the area, very comfortable with, their friend group and where they were in life and all of those kind of things. So it felt different than college, where you're all together all the time. It was kind of like, come to the rink, do our thing. We might go to dinner or do something like that. But it was kind of like, I don't know, it was like we go do our job, we go home, we relax, we come back and do our job again, we hang out a little bit. But it just felt a little bit, different in that way. But at the same time, it just maybe more mature. I don't know exactly what it was, but that definitely helped us. We really came together naturally down the stretch of the season. Even when we were struggling at the end of the regular season, it was still a really tight-knit group. And I think that is kind of what got us over the hump in the playoffs.
And the Avs have adopted a big hat that they award to kind of the player of the game now. Did you have anything like that, a jacket or a chain?
Yes, we had said early in the season, we were like, we got to get something, and we were kind of trying to come up with something quick to just have, and then we're like, oh, we'll replace it, we'll get something better later, and then it just kind of stuck. We got these glasses, they were purple glasses, and then they were the shape of a star, so it was like, your star of the game or whatever. So it was nice. They just had a little case, they fit in everybody's bag, easy to travel with. We were like, oh, this makes a lot of sense, and obviously the purple is a good fit as well. So we'll see if that sticks, or if we got to come up with something else this year. Something
new.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, you had standout performances, including 2 shutouts. How do you stay locked in over the course of an entire playoff series, especially in crucial moments like the Walter Cup final?
Yeah, that was definitely it was a different animal. Where in women's hockey, I think we're very used to playing a lot of like winner take all, one game means everything, like be it for a world championship or an NCAA championship or an Olympic medal. We're used to that winner take all, one chance mentality. So to kind of have to step back and be like, we lost game 1 in the finals, and it was like, okay, this isn't the end of the world. Like, we've got, that wasn't it. We've got more chances. We can still put our best foot forward. So I think that was important to manage kind of the highs and lows of it, to be like, no matter what, we're coming back the next day for another game, to remember that throughout the kind of the trip. And our coach, Ken Klee, had sat us down. Obviously, he'd played in the NHL, and he was like, the thing about these playoff series is once you're in them, they go quick. So we're going to talk about this now. Like, don't leave anything undone. Don't leave anything to chance. Like, you're going to look by in games 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are gone. So it was kind of having a leader at the top that had been through that before was really helpful to know how to manage players' minutes, players' recovery, but also knew how to manage the mental side of it.
Can you take me back to the disallowed goal in Game 4? First and foremost, how do you view that as a goalie?
Oh, it was absolutely not a goal. Absolutely not a goal. I was watching it from the other end. I didn't see Taylor run into Aaron, so I just saw like Sophie hit the puck. It went in the net. Arms were up, so I was just skating a million miles an hour to get down there. And we're all kind of like hugging it out. Gloves are off and everything. And I kind of glimpse center ice, and I see Hillary Knight up there talking to the official, and now I like reach into the pile, and I was like, Kendall, like Hillary's talking to the officials, like, you better go see what's going on. And so as soon as they replayed it on the board, I'm like, me and Maddie Rooney are standing next to each other, and we're just like, both goalies just like, ooh, yeah, we're not done here. So I think that was definitely the right call. I think as a group, I think our mentality was we just need to get to the end of this overtime period and get back in the locker room and like regroup, and unfortunately couldn't quite get that done. But it was really interesting. We came in the locker room after the game, and it was just dead silent in our room, and the locker rooms were close enough that we could hear somewhat of like their Boston's reaction to it, and of course they're hyped and cheering, and it was just like, even though we were in a tough spot, there was just no panic or like, we didn't feel bad for ourselves. It was more of like all right, we have to get this done. Like it was more of like a driven, like purposeful silence almost.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember that there was much said. It was just like, we're fine. We're going to go to Boston and get this done. So it was kind of cool to then go to Boston and have like our team played so well, especially in the second and third period, that it just felt like we didn't want to leave a doubt that, how badly we wanted to win and how well we could play together. And so it was really cool to see it have gone from the absolute like deflating goal against in Game 4 to complete elation after Game 5.
Did that silent understanding after Game 4 just persist into Game 5? Like, was there a moment where you did meet ahead of Game 5 to regroup and refocus, or was it pretty much understood the entire time going up into it?
Yeah, it was kind of, I think we had 2 days in between, so it was like we played the game. I remember I got home at like 2 a.m. and I'm like walking my dog, and we've got the next day off, and it was kind of, a lot of people came in to get treatment that next day. And so you're kind of seeing a lot of people in passing. And so it was good to see everyone, and everyone, you could tell, felt loose and like,
good.
It didn't seem like much needed to be said. And then we got on the plane the next day, and it just kind of felt like it had all season. Like we were in a good place. We were in a positive place. And yes, we had obviously like our meetings with like the coaching staff and like those kind of meetings. But there was nothing where it was like bring us together as a group to like really talk about what needed to be done. I feel like we all just kind of knew.
And throughout the year, Minnesota developed into a formidable team, especially during this run. What would you say emerged as the core identity of that team?
I think all year we had a lot of speed and we had a lot of skill. I think in the playoffs we actually played a little bit more physical than we had all year, and I think that helped us a little bit. We weren't overly physical, but it was enough to like just kind of push us over that next edge, I feel like. But I think for the most part, speed and skill was a lot of our identity.
And winning a championship is an ultimate goal, but it often takes a lot of setbacks too. What was the most challenging part of this season for you personally?
Oh man, I think it's kind of a weird setup schedule-wise. So you play a lot of your regular season, and then there's the international break for the World Championships. And so that's like it's like a 3-week, maybe 4-week break. And so it's like half your team might be at Worlds competing and the other half's practicing together. So it's kind of an awkward bit of time, and then there were 5 regular season games left when we got back to market, and we needed 1 point in 5 games to like secure a playoff spot. That is all we needed, and we could not get that 1 point to save our lives. And it was just, it's hard to put your finger on exactly what was going on and why we could not put like our best game together, but we legitimately lost every single game, and we're sitting watching Ottawa and Toronto play, and it was like if Toronto won, we were going. If Ottawa won, we weren't. And it was like, oh man, I was watching it with Maddie Rooney, and we just were sitting like barely speaking the whole time. Just, are we going to get in? Are we not? And I think as soon as Toronto won that game, which meant we were in, like our group chat just started blowing up, like, because we knew at that point, you know, we'd lost 5 in a row. We weren't looking so hot, like that we would be the total underdogs in there. And sometimes I think that's helpful to come in with house money and just kind of get to go out and play loose and play free. And I think that was a big turning point for our group. But yeah, that was definitely the roughest stretch, because it was just like you just couldn't put your finger on exactly why it wasn't clicking all of a sudden after that break. And it felt like other teams were clicking, and it was like, dang, like they're figuring it out, like what is going on with us. And I think it took all the way up until game 2 in Toronto that Maddie played in net. She came in and was just like phenomenal. Like she played such a good game, and it was still, we ended up losing like 1-0. But it was like, it just, I don't know, for some reason that game seemed to make people remember like, oh, we can do this. Like we've played in this league all year. We've been competitive all year. We can do this. And from then on out, it was just like, you know, it was kind of like, oh, don't give them one. And then fought our way through that Toronto series to come all the way back, and then, into Boston.
And Jesse Montano actually gave me some questions my way. So one of them is, how does the moment, the final buzzer, Game 5, compare to Olympic medals?
That's a good question. I think it's like so different and similar at the same time. I think any championship, it bonds a group in a different way than anything else can. So I think to have, like with a world championship or an Olympics, you're not together for the whole year. You're flying in and out to compete with that group. And, you know, while you're super close and like love all those people and you're super tight teammates, it's not quite the same as, you know, being with the same group of people from start to finish all year. So I think that's what makes it a little bit different. It is day in, day out for, you know, I think it was like 8 months. Like that was the group you were with, that was your group of people. And so I think that's what makes it a little bit different is that rather than kind of going in and out with an Olympic medal. But at the same time, growing up, like not really having a professional women's league, your goal was to win an Olympic gold medal. So I would say, like, for my personal childhood dreams, like to win an Olympic gold medal was everything I wanted as a kid. So, you know, this just wasn't even a dream that was possible as a kid. So I think it feels a little bit different in that way too, just because of the different experiences growing up.
And with even more games added to the league this year, new jerseys, an exciting rookie class, what are you looking forward to in the year ahead in this title defense season?
I think just watching the league come into its own and to be a part of that. I think, adding more games to the schedule is really exciting. More chances for people to come out and watch us play. And, we're obviously all like competitors, so just more chances to compete. I think we all love that. So I think those are some of the things I'm looking forward to. I love our crowd in Minnesota. We have a really attentive fan base, so I love playing in front of them. So I think just continuing to build.
And you've already achieved so much. The Olympic medals, now the Walter Cup championship, first goaltender selected in the inaugural draft. What do you hope your legacy will be, especially for future generations of young women?
I think a big part of my story was coming out of high school. I had one Division I offer, and I didn't get that till the very last second. So I just think that throughout my career, I've had a lot of people tell me no, or like, you're not good enough, you're not fast enough, strong enough, tall enough, whatever it might be. And maybe I'm just stubborn, but I just didn't want to take no for an answer. And so I feel like that's kind of a big part of my story, was I had the belief in myself, and I surrounded myself with people that believed in me too and would push me. And so I think just you have to believe in yourself before anyone else is going to, I think, is kind of the biggest piece of advice I would give to anyone.
Now, for the celebration part, tell me a little bit about your day with the cup. How are you going to celebrate? What kind of things do you have planned?
Oh, man. I think going down to the Edge Ice Arena where I grew up playing, and kind of getting to meet with the community a little bit and give everyone the opportunity in Colorado to come see the cup and get pictures with it, touch it, that kind of thing, and to just get to interact with everybody. That'll be a fun part of the afternoon. And then I got a little party at my parents' house this evening with some friends and family that'll just be fun to see, some people I haven't seen in a long time, living in Minnesota now. And then probably going to go to Red Rocks and get some photo ops and stuff like that. And I don't know, hit up some of my favorite local spots. I love ice cream, so I'm gonna probably head over to like Little Man Ice Cream and put some ice cream in it and eat out of it. So yeah, just some fun stuff like that.
And diving into some of the people that you have with you mentioned friends and family. Can you tell me more specifically some of the people that you're sharing this moment with and what they've meant to your journey?
Yeah, for sure. My parents and my sister Brittany obviously have been there from day one. So my parents were able to go to Game 5, so they were able to get on the ice after, which was really cool to just have them there for that. And then my sister was in school, so she wasn't able to. So this morning was the first time she'd seen the cup, so it was kind of cool to show that to her. And then I mentioned earlier my parents are from Kansas City, so a bunch of my aunts and uncles and grandma drove out from Kansas City to see it. So that'll be cool to just get to share with them. And then a couple of coaches and teammates that I had in high school. And it's kind of hard to get everybody back together. People are out doing their own thing and everything now and moved. And so just kind of trying to get as many friends and family that have been there for me over the years together. Yeah.
This is another Jessie one. Today, your day with the cup has to be a little extra special given everything you and the founding group have done to get this off the ground. Is today about more than just the cup for you?
Yeah. I mean, I think they always say you have to be a little bit selfish as a hockey player because it takes up so much time, money, and energy from not just you, obviously, but your family. So to just be able to kind of share the moments with them, I think is really rewarding for me personally. And then to be able to provide girls in Colorado with an actual visual of this is what's possible for you now. There is a future in hockey, somewhere down the line. I think to be able to give that visual to young girls in Colorado that I really didn't have growing up. I wanted to play in the NHL because that's all I knew. I was I want to be the next Patrick Waugh. So, hopefully there's girls out there that want to be the next whoever it might be on our team. So. Yeah.
And with the growth of hockey in Colorado generally, can you see expansion in the PWHL into Colorado?
Oh, I hope so. There's so many good markets, and I definitely think Colorado is one of them. And I think we saw a lot of maybe a lot to stretch, but we've been doing games in other markets just to see the reaction and stuff there and the potential growth, and I think that'll continue to happen this year. So. It's just exciting to think about the future of the league, and obviously, it's a good founding six, and I think we're all looking forward to the day when more are added to that group.
That's awesome. I won't keep you from your day with the cup any longer. Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. NICOLE Hensley, Walter Cup champion.
Thanks for having me today. It was a lot of fun.
Thank you.